Okay. Now, what I can do is, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna turn this up. Okay, and you are in?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, we're good. And we are recording this for posterity. And anyways, thank you. I'm so glad you guys are here. We're very fortunate. We have my good friend Kurt Reynolds, who is a communications English teacher in Beaver Falls at Lincoln High School. He has taught two of my daughters, and we'll hopefully be teaching again next year with Grace. And anyway, but he is just an amazing award-winning teacher. What was the big award you got?
It was the WEM Award.
The WEM Award. And that was kind of nice. It's like, scratch your back, I'll scratch mine. It's like I wrote him a recommendation for this award that he won, and he wrote a recommendation for me to get into the PhD program. So you know. He is also an adjunct professor here teaching TNL 250 Intro to Education, and who's had him before? So we got some Kurt fans right in the center. Feel free to heckle.
Yeah, we can go there.
Did you wear Crocs today for him? He hates Crocs. Okay. See, I bring it up every time. Anyway, but he is going to be talking with you today about Gen Z, which some of you are in, but you're definitely going to be working with, and how that's going to be a little bit different, working with technology and moving forward with that. He does have a list of your questions that you submitted. Thank you so much for that. And with that, let's welcome Kurt to our classroom.
I also shared with you, it should be on Blackboard if you want to go there. It's called Today's Meet, and it's a back channel discussion, which is simply a tool. I put a question on there. If you log in, you can leave any questions or comments. Hey, your fly is open, you need to lose 20 pounds, get rid of the unibrow, whatever it is. You know, I'm used to dealing with high school kids, they're a lot meaner than that. So you can just throw any ideas down there if you want to get feedback. I totally can help you out.
I'm just going to tweak this a little bit, Kurt. Okay. Just going to tweak something here. So I can see you. Hopefully we got the audio from before. So yeah, just stay in front of the whiteboard and that.
Okay. You want to run the computer there?
No, I'm good. I'm going to put. Now we're set.
Stay in front of the whiteboard. So, okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So we'll do this. I'm big on letting students have control. That scares some people, but Gen Z loves that. And do you want to go over the questions and I will go over responses just to trigger my mind there? Or do you want me to do a highly engaging creative for you guys? Totally up to you. I'm old school. I'm a Gen Xer. We're going to do this all day. Or we can watch videos, have some funny images. It's up to you. I really want to give you the best bang for your buck.
I want the videos.
Videos? Okay, you can't. You've seen any of these former 250 learners? I'm sorry.
I don't want to see this PowerPoint anymore.
Shut your face. Let's get it, buddy. Okay.
This is only the second time this has been.
It's a different slideshow though.
Ooh,
It is,
this is
yeah.
the first time.
So, what do you know about Gen Z? Nothing. Next. No, I'm just kidding, buddy. Gen Z, what do we know? What do we know? What do we know?
Is that us?
The next generation that actually is involved with computers, iPads,
Okay.
phones, all
All right. Other things?
Is it us?
You are Gen Z. Depending on your age. Usually, you're probably tail end of the millennials.
that. Yeah.
Gen Z
Yeah.
tends to start about 1995.
Yeah, that's me.
And it probably goes through my kids. I have a first grader and a third grader. Now, what do you know about Gen Z, your generation? I told the first class, I'm a big fan of Gen Z and millennials. If I'm not a fan of any generation, it's Gen X. I had a colleague text me something about somebody posted something blatantly false on Facebook. You ever see those where you have to post something, otherwise Facebook's going to start charging you? Usually old people, 30 and up, fall for crap like that. Not true. Facebook is not going to charge you anything, right? And if you forward this, Bill Gates will send you a free iPhone. No, he's Microsoft. No, but people my age are stupid and fall for stuff like that. Your generation doesn't. You have great BS detectors because there's so much BS out there. And my colleague sent this to me and she said, yeah, they might eat Tide Pods, but they're good, they're good BS sifters. And I'm like, I'm so damn sick of eating Tide Pods. Does anybody eat a Tide Pod? No. You wouldn't acknowledge it anyway. You wrote an essay on it. I'm just kidding. But I'm like, if any generation was screwed up, it was my generation. We bought the Pet Rock. You could go out and get one for free, but no, we spent millions of dollars on the Pet Rock. We made the Dukes of Hazzard the #1 ranked TV show in the early 1980s. And it was the same episode over and over and over again. We're the dumbest generation, not millennials and Gen Z. So I'm a huge fan of Gen Z. We'll look at a couple things that you've seen this before. But no, you're all education majors, right? How many secondary education majors? Elementary? Okay. Middle? Admin? Future admin? Okay. You'll see with our students, our school system used to serve 3 purposes. When I was a kid, I remember the first email I ever sent. Don't laugh. I remember the first web page I ever went on, ESPN. Do you remember the first web page or email? Broadband was still getting up to your neck of the woods because you were like in North Dakota, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They do have their Wi-Fi, they don't have dial-up stuff. But school used to be this. Anybody know what that is?
Like your own cubby card catalog?
Card catalog, Dewey, friggin' Decimal. Yeah. This, if you needed knowledge and your parents or the teacher didn't have it, you went here and you figured out where the book was, and that's how you got knowledge. Every single one of you with a laptop has all of this at one click. It's called Google. Or, anybody know what the #1 search tool to solve problems is? The #1 website people go to?
Bing?
No. YouTube. My daughter's fiance is rebuilding his father's Harley. He knows 0 about motorcycles. He bought a carburetor and installed it. I said, how the hell do you do that? YouTube. New headlight, wash the saddlebags, it's all on YouTube. And any one of my students with a laptop, and every single one of my kids has a laptop, MacBook Air, has more information than I can give them. That's scary. They know more than I do. So I no longer become the person that's the sage on the stage that delivers information. School used to be where you saw your friends. But we have an app for that, several apps for that now. And it's also where we have to send our kids so parents can work and make a living. If you really think about it, the only one that's true today is still this one. But if that's all that school is, we are missing out on a lot of learning. And we're doing our students an incredible disservice. So your generation can change that. We have what's called digital citizens. So I like to ask this because I remember this point. Where were you when you realized the world is flat? Does anybody know what book I'm referring to with those last 4 words? The world is flat. Thomas Friedman wrote it in the early 2000s. It's about how our world became flat. That you could simply order something from Nike and have it delivered the next day. Do you think they just put it on an incredibly fast airplane to get it from Nike headquarters to you? Nike doesn't have headquarters. Maybe have office buildings, but you know where all their shoes are, or the bulk of them? They're in a hangar in Lexington, Kentucky, run by the UPS. So if you order some Nike shoes made by the best 3rd grader Guatemalan kid, he takes them off the shelf, puts them, sends them to you a day later. And so same with Dell computers. They handle all the internal logistics for Dell computers and for Nike. But the world is flat. I'll give you an example. My stepson plays Xbox Live. Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
And what I hated about it was he would always have his friends come over. And maybe this is something unique to Gen X, but they would bring TVs when they got together. I could always tell, because they were going to game together, and they'd set one TV here, one there, and then they'd take turns playing. We, back in the day with Atari and Nintendo, we just waited in turn, we didn't have 2 TVs, right? There's usually 1 TV in the whole house. So they didn't come over for a long time. This is great because they'd come over, they'd eat all my food. They were like locusts, eat all my food, drink all my pop. Friggin' energy would just surge through there. And I'm grading papers, it's a Sunday evening, and I can hear my stepson talking to somebody. I said to my wife, is there anybody over? What's going on? And she's like, no. She looked out the front window, no cars over there. So I kind of opened Casey's door, and he's sitting there in his boxers and his easy chair playing Xbox Live, because I knew he had the little walkie-talkie deal on his face. And he kind of got this smirk, and he said, you want to know who I'm talking to? I said, no, I'm a freaking English teacher. I do not want to know who you're talking to. To whom are you talking, jackass? And so he kind of smirked, and then I heard some German and saw on the screen, it was a World War II's Call of Duty, and suddenly his entire team was wiped out. I said, oh, it's World War II game. He said, oh, I hate it when they do that. And I said, who's they? The Germans. I'm like, yeah, World War II, I'm familiar with how it works, we're fighting the Nazis. He's like, no, my friends and I are actually fighting Germans. They're in Germany. I'm like, what? Xbox Live, they hooked up. Now I thought this was great because his friends don't have to come over and consume all my natural resources. They can stay in their homes. And I said to him, how does, and he kind of explained it. And I said, well, why did they decimate you? And he said, here's what Germans do. They know we're Americans. What do you call somebody who speaks 3 languages?
Trilingual,
2 languages?
bilingual,
1 language?
monolingual.
American. And he didn't even speak English, right? Because he ended his sentence with preposition. But anyway, he said they talk fluent English to us, and then when they shout their battle tactics out, they do it in German, knowing we can't understand, and they ambush us all the time and slaughter us. And I thought, here's a jag-ass kid, junior high school, who, with just what we give him, and we don't spoil him by any means, what we give him for his birthday, and he carries out groceries at a local grocery store, he can afford this stuff. What can the CEO of DigiKey, which is a multi-billion-dollar company in Thieford Falls, do? And I realized I'm not leveraging technology very well in my classroom. And that was a moment that I realized I've been cheating my kids for a very long time. And so after that, I really became an advocate for using technology in almost everything we do. Now, Gen Z, there's an acronym I like to use for them, and it's called SEEN. And it looks at the good and the bad side of technology. And people always post stuff like this on my Facebook page, and it pisses me off, right? Jackass, Albert Einstein never said that. Snopes, check your research, Gen Xers. Don't just retweet stuff that you agree with. Just because it's Donald Trump's face and the meme goes along with what you believe, doesn't mean he said it. Okay, and yeah, right. And somebody, you know where this was posted? Facebook. Guess how they posted it?
Yeah, their cell phone?
On their cell phone, right. And it was a Gen Xer. And then somebody, another god-awful Gen Xer in the comments said, yeah, I was in the waiting room at the hospital or clinic and nobody was talking. Everybody was staring at their phones. And it was everything I could do to not respond and say jackass. Who goes to the hospital to meet people? Hey, I'm sorry that eye is way that way, but how are you doing? Or, I'm sorry you've got a 2x4 sticking out of your chest and you're bleeding profusely, but what do you think of the twins' chances this year? No, nobody does that. Don't. But they like to pick on the younger generation because they're different.
Nancy. She's an awesome aerobics instructor. She's crazy.
Great.
So technology has the power to do evil. Everybody's addicted to their phones. But it also has the power to do something positive. And when I won my award Some of my students got all my other past students to wish me congratulations. And I just use their example because they're both teachers. And somebody asked me, what's the number one thing you could tell me? Let your freak flag fly. Best thing you can do. I would write that down. Let your, Y-O-U-R, freak flag fly. Just kidding, buddy. You've heard me say that probably, right? And what that means, no kid's gonna trust you if you aren't a little weird. You have to do that. And they know I friggin' hate Crocs. Do you know why Crocs have holes in them? So your dignity leaks out. You know what the hardest thing about wearing Crocs is? Telling your parents you've given up on life. I can go all day. I don't care if I know you or not you, I know with Crocs you're getting chirped all the way down. Okay? So she's got them there. I hate Justin Bieber almost as much as I hate Nickelback. So I hate that, right? Don't judge me, I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and so he had to give me, forget Mike Zimmer, Vikings chatter. So they're able to personalize it because of my freak flag and the things that make me me. Okay? So even though technology can be bad and everybody's staring at the phones, it can be good because you can reach out and give somebody a video or film something that can have an impact on somebody else and share it instantly and have it permanently. So your generation loves speed, not that kind of speed, but as in instant gratification. And some people of my generation say, wow, you have to wait for stuff. Delayed gratification is good. Yeah, just go with your parents to Sky or somewhere and have the waitress take an hour to get your meal. What are Gen Xers how are they gonna feel about that? They're gonna be going crazy and just say, Mom, delayed gratification is good. Yeah, well, not all the time, okay? So speed, you guys like things quick, and that's awesome. Who doesn't like stuff instantaneously? And I love my cell phone because it has all of those things combined in it.
Oh my God, I have this.
That is how it sounds too.
Yeah. Filters.
You know, that's a little extreme, but honestly, if you were to look at my mother-in-law, who's 75, she is amazed at what my first grader can do on his technology. It's not far removed from that. She still calls it the Facebook. It's not the Facebook. She just takes whoever the hell she wants in pictures. I'm like, who taught her how to take? It's terrible, okay? But, you know, you like things with speed, and that's good, but it can have an unintended or negative consequence. And that sometimes anything slow is bad. And sometimes learning is a slow process. It's difficult to learn how to read. It's difficult to do math. It takes a lot of time and practice. And in America, we tend to believe in the fixed mindset, which is, oh, if you're not good at math, you must be good at writing or art. In China, you know what they believe in? The growth mindset. You'll be good at math. You may have to do 6 hours of homework a night, but you will be good at math. Which is why whenever I have students go off to college, man, I'm great at math, and then they show up to the U or Cornell, as Patel went. It's like, yeah, I thought I was good at math. Then the agent came and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Back in first grade math. Because they have that growth mindset. They don't mind it being slow and arduous. But we in America tend to think that's a negative thing, but it isn't always negative. You live in a world of convenience. What's great, and I'm a big fan of this, is that you live in just in time. There's not much you can't learn just in time to do it. What I mean by that is my generation was a just in case. I needed to learn how to type. You remember learning how to type? Just in case I had to type in my job. And I never learned in high school. I had to learn the hard way in college when I ran the student newspaper. But this generation can learn so much just in time. I had to install a headlight in our Highlander. That would be a month with apprenticing with my father. And he would want to show me how to change oil and all this other crap. Now YouTube, I watch a 30-second video. I have my phone playing while I'm dangling over the back of the headlight, putting it in, and I forget it, and the next time the YouTube video's there, I can move on just in time. And I'm a big fan of that with your generation. I mean, we can get, my students always say, somebody's going to shoot that down. Yeah, if it flies over North Dakota or Goodbridge, somebody's going to shoot it down. But anybody ever read The Grapes of Wrath? You know what the grandfather does the first time he sees an airplane fly red? He tries to shoot it. Okay. We don't shoot at airplanes anymore. It's kind of illegal, but you know, change will happen. This is my son, and without me knowing, he comes downstairs with his iPad. Says, "Dad, I want to upload this to YouTube. I want to be a YouTuber." And I said, "What is it?" And he showed me, and it was him. He put this little Lego set together. It's Five Nights at Freddy's, and he created a whole story, and he's enacting it out. And I'm like, "How did you learn how to find the camera and video on your iPad?" He just knew it. My mother-in-law, 70, could never figure this out. Not for anything in the world. And he filmed it, and we uploaded it, and then my wife found. He says flipping balloons, not friggin' balloons, and he says "oh crap" a lot. So we have to have a discussion about content. But he did it with minimal help from me. Now that has an unintended consequence. That anything hard is often seen as bad. Because things happen so quick, so easily, that anything we struggle through is hard. But sometimes dealing with hard things is good. It's hard writing your PhD.
Okay.
But you get skills that change you. It's hard making sense of King Lear or Hamlet. But you read that and it changes you as a human being. Another one, entertainment. And oftentimes, if it's not fun, students are tuned out. And I like that challenge. Take something that's they're considered boring and try to make it fun. That's a real thing, you can buy that. Usually, you know, just sit and wait, maybe read something, but you can play your iPad. Or even making going to the bathroom enjoyable. Anybody see this? No, it is funny, and it got millions of likes, and I'm sure made him a bunch of money on YouTube. However, there was a backlash. What's wrong with this type of stuff?
It's exploited.
What's that?
It's exploited.
It's exploitive. It's like saying, I love watching those videos where the soldiers come home unbeknownst to their family. You see them shocked, but yet that's a very private moment that's being exploited. And we have this whole generation of kids being raised that they don't have any private moments because their parents share everything on Facebook and YouTube. And I have a former student who shared on Facebook, so-and-so had his first big poop today. Great, that kid's gonna walk into my class 13 years later and think, I remember when you had your first big poop. Good job. Parents, use your brain. Not everything needs to go on here, which is great about your generation. You realize not everything needs to go on social media. But there are people, and you can go on Facebook and see, I have one teacher who, she goes on 2 vacations a year and she takes enough pictures that every day throughout the whole year, she posts a vacation picture. And I'm like, does she work? She's, oh, how the hell is she in Cabo again? She was just, but that's the falsehood she likes to present, that she's always on vacation. And that has negative consequences. And the unintended, anything boring is bad. It's boring to stay at home and raise your kid. It's much more exciting to travel to Cabo with your husband and get hammered on the beach and get another kid maybe. I don't know. But it's boring to raise your kids correctly. And that's a problem you guys will see with this next generation coming through. Math is boring unless you make it interesting. And math is everywhere, so I've been told. I haven't seen it yet, but it's good to put the phone down and pay attention. No, you don't. And there's a growing phenomenon of videos like this all over where people just don't pay attention. They don't set the phones down and look around. I was telling the first class, it's kind of become my goal to see how many Snapchats and selfies I can get in a day. Because I'll walk in, everybody's sending it off, and I'm like, Reynolds, get out of there. And I'm like, why do you have to send a selfie? I keep my Snapchat live. Snapchat streak. I'm like, that'll earn you money one day. Not. No. Nobody's going to fire you or hire you because your Snapchat streak ended. God will not excommunicate you. Nothing bad. You're not going to gain 20 pounds because of it. It's stupid. But kids believe it. Nurture that helicopter parents. Insulating our kids. Wait till you see this. Girls, how would you like to date one of these boys? This is the helicopter of helicopters. Oh, she's doing that on her break, or she might get fired.
That happened to Chiquita got fired.
What? This girl? Okay.
Actually, probably somebody you know, but yeah.
Okay.
It is somebody you know.
Thoughts?
A woman needs a slap.
Why?
Wow.
It's a little extreme, but okay.
Yes. Well, I mean, she should not be micromanaging all her kids' lives.
And what is her life?
Micromanaging.
Yes. What about, how would you like to get one of those guys? No? Why not?
Because then I feel like, I don't know, he wouldn't do anything.
Yeah. I tell my kids this all the time, my children, but my students. Be an adult. Those guys aren't being adults. And this is my core reason I teach. This is the best thing in the world. We need to change that. Too many kids think they see their parents and guess how their parents act? Like kids. They see parents as their friends, not their parents. And go to a sporting event. You see it, adults acting very adultish? No. And the younger you go, the worse it is. Go to a third grade basketball event and see, I heard an adult yell at a kid because his team had the lead, they lost, and the team was behind and they needed to foul, and he reached around and the grandfather said, "If you get the foul, make him mean it, throw him to the floor." I'm like, yes. Oh, jeez. It's a 6th grade child, sir. Now I know you're from Goodridge, but still, right? It's because your sister's also your wife. No, I'm just kidding about that. Doesn't make it right, okay? Be an adult, okay? Being an adult is the greatest thing in the world. Have you ever heard that? Please tell me you haven't heard this one. The best years of your life are high school, college.
Heard that one.
Yeah? That's by people whose lives peaked. You don't want to do that. Go down to the Parrots Cay, or in Theater Halls it's called the Rusty Nail, and you'll see people whose lives peaked. They're usually hockey players. When you almost beat War Road, and you really didn't, but you have 45 excuses on why you should have, but you didn't. Come on. And now you're living vicariously by coaching Pee-wees and being a douchebag to them, and it's going over and over again. That's not being an adult. If the best year of your life isn't the next year, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I always give this example. I walk into Latchkey to get my kids, and there comes my daughter. Running, leaps into my arms. I'm not on my phone as other parents are, and gives me a big hug. Here comes my son, he's on my leg. And I enjoy that moment because pretty soon, it's not gonna be cool to do that to dad anymore. And pretty soon, I mean, when you see your parents, you run and jump. See your mom, you run and jump into her arms again? Probably not, right? So I'm gonna miss those days, but right now I'm enjoying the crap out of it. That is better than beating War Road in anything, or fitting into a size 32 jeans with the chandeliers on the pocket. No, get old. I'm a dad. I got the dad body. I shop at Old Navy, not the Buckle anymore. Life moves on, okay? Be an adult, love the crap out of it. Too many kids don't want to grow up because they see adults as boring. I'm like, it's not boring. You crazy? I wake up at 4:30 Monday morning ready to go. I love my job. When you walk into my room, you see this on the board. Thank God it's Monday, and I usually put a smiley face. Because I have the greatest job in the world. If I could be a professional athlete, they wouldn't have as much fun as I do. Plus their bodies they wouldn't even know who they are when they're 40. So, I already know who I am, okay? I love what I do, and it's my mantra to make kids love being an adult and not wanting to stay a jackass kid their whole life because mom does everything for them. And again, the unintended consequence is that anything risky is bad. That's why there's a new phenomenon called the quarter life crisis or the midlife crisis. Have you heard of that? Any of you have older siblings? Do they happen to be living at home? Or have lived at home? It's called the boomerang generation. They get a degree that they probably shouldn't have gotten. Because they thought Middle Eastern history was, or art history was a good idea, and then you throw them out into the world and there are no jobs. Not my dream job, I'm gonna come back and live in the basement. No, not good, okay? Risk is difficult. And the unintended consequence is that we have monkey bars, take him down. And there's my daughter kicking ass in the monkey bar. She broke her wrist here before, and she's back on it. Okay, because we were talking about this at lunch. As soon as in the 90s, the monkey bars started to disappear from playgrounds, psychologists said, bad idea. The same thing kids use to navigate this is the same things you use to navigate a 4-year college degree, a mortgage, a marriage, children, and all this other stuff. And that's why so many people are struggling with those very things today, because they've been insulated and protected from it. And entitlement. Kids just think, I should get that A even though I turned in 3 assignments late. And you know, I tried, please help me. No, you're not entitled to anything. Work for it. That's what being an adult is. Oh, I gotta write an essay. Yeah, shut up, do it. If that's what happens. Your boss is not gonna like you first day. You might have to clean toilets. You're not gonna be CEO after 3 years. You're still gonna have to work. And we give this idea that anything labor intensive is bad. Which is why I'm not a huge sports fan, but this is why sports today are still vital, because it teaches you hard work. Nobody's on their phones, at least for the 2 to 3 hours of practice. We did have an 8th grader try to come out on the football field with his phone. That didn't work. Hey, don't put that away. Right, you don't fall on it, get hurt. And so labor intensive is good. Because if you don't really work hard, where are you going? And that's what's given education a bad name. Why did you guys get into education? Out of all the things you could be, why education?
I like kids.
You like kids, good. Others?
I believe I can make a difference.
What's that?
I believe I can make a difference.
There you go.
My role models.
Role models, nice. Maybe you had an impactful teacher that's influenced you. Maybe you come from a family of teachers, right? 30 years ago, people would have said 3 reasons.
June, July, and August.
June, July, and August. We still have a few of those on staff. And in fact, we used to have, we were getting our schools being remodeled and in the teacher's lounge, which I rarely ever go in, but I went in and they wanted you to hang up a poster where you wanted the new clock to go, because they were all taken down. And somebody put, it was gonna be a digital clock, and the time they put was 3:45, which is that's when we can leave, right? So just to be a jackass, because this is me, I snuck in when nobody was there, and I put 7:45. That's my favorite time of day. It's the start. I don't live to leave, you know? And you can tell. You can tell. We were sitting having a conversation. You can tell who really teaches just to coach. Usually a history teacher. No offense if anybody's a history teacher. But usually, traditionally, that's what they are. I bet anybody have bad history teachers? Were they coaches? There we go. Right? Nobody ever says, I had a crappy math teacher who was also his. Or their FIA teacher. No, not even, my best friend at school is a FIA teacher. He's a hell of a FIA teacher. Hell of a coach, but he brings it like nobody else. We have a wrestling coach / history teacher who coaches 90% of the time, teaches 2%, and I don't know what the hell he does with the other 8%. Okay? But it's blatantly clear. Show this to some of my kids. I'm like, now this is you trying to read The Great Gatsby. No! 6 pages. No! Really? I wrote that over lunch. Come on.
He doubled down.
I'm a fat guy that does cardio in the morning, has to do burpees, and I'm not complaining that much.
When Ashley's teaching.
No, you can't, because then you'd be killed.
The struggle's real.
And now she's pissed.
Little dose of birth control thing.
Yeah, I mean, paper is good. It's not that hard to pick a spoon up in the dish and put it away. Okay, but these are some of the unintended consequences that we're giving kids, or the kids are just getting because of the way our world is shaped. So I'll end with that. Any questions? Anything? You got a real life teacher, ask me anything. Anything. You'll never get that chance probably again here.
I feel like
Go
Until
ahead.
Monday.
Whatever you want. Let it go. I mean, no, I meant, well, I didn't know if you, I mean, anything. Taught 20 years, ask me anything.
24.
What do you want to know? High school. Elementary school. Fair enough. What do you want to know? I'll spill the, yes.
Just like, what's the best advice you give us?
Best advice, let your freak flag fly. Do not be afraid. Older teachers will look down on you because you're young. You got a hell of a work ethic. You're not afraid to try new things. And you bring this idealism that they've lost about 35 years ago. Don't let them deter you. 2, right now, get your social media profile ready to go. If you're not on Twitter, get on Twitter immediately. It is the best professional development out there. I spend about 20 minutes each morning getting great teaching ideas. Now, it's all on who you follow. You could follow Snooki and a bunch of other jackasses, but George Couros is a great way to start. David Burgess, another great place to start. The first thing, whenever we hire a new teacher, the first thing our principal says, Kurt, search them on social media and find out what they're about. Social media doesn't lie. If you're not there, we're not even interviewing you unless we absolutely need to.
How about at lunch, we're talking about planting your flag. You know, like Shane was talking about.
Oh, yeah, and I'll get to that in just a second, but here's a great example. We hired a new English teacher and she's taught in Fargo. I searched her online, she had great Twitter, she was engaging with her students, inspiring them. That was awesome. You will have some teachers say, I don't think you should have now. You may even have, not Laura, but other professors say, you shouldn't get social media, that's dumb. They are old and need to retire. Social media is how you get out. You Google Teacher Scribe Kurt Reynolds, you're gonna see a lot of stuff. You're gonna see my blog, you're gonna see images of my students, you're gonna see tons of stuff. And you're gonna see my license plate, which says, or my bumper sticker, which says, I'd rather be teaching, which is true. I drive all around town, people like that, jackass, he'd rather be teaching, it's true, I would, okay? So, that's me. Search somebody else, our wrestling coach, I see a lot about education. Who are you gonna hire? My money's on me. Of course it would be, but here's a great example. We had a second year history teacher. We had a snow day right on Facebook. Snow day, best day ever, I love life. There's another teacher, great follow on Twitter, Kayla Delzer, Top Dog Teaching. She has a snow day in Fargo. She says, STEM challenge. At home, create a 3D structure out of cardboard, send me a picture. Learning doesn't have to stop when it's snow day. Here this other guy's, in his jammies playing with his dog and Major League Baseball and jackass. Nothing. The other teacher's having a learning day. Who's gonna get hired in a nanosecond, Delzer? Nanosecond. Nanosecond. So make yourself remarkable on social media. It is a friend. Even if you don't post anything, at least get a ton of great ideas from other teachers. And then slowly build your platform from there. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you share this or kind of like the growth mindset with your students?
Yeah, there's nothing I don't, well, yeah, there's a few things, but I'm a student with my students. And that is another learn with your kids. If there's a literary analysis due, I'll write one over lunch. He's like, you wrote 4 pages over lunch. I said, I've written more than all of you guys, except you combined in my life. Because I'm a friggin' English teacher. It's like being a nurse who smokes, an obese gym teacher, or an English teacher who doesn't read those. You just shouldn't have those. Doesn't make any sense, right? I'm an English teacher, I should write. And I'll say, here's what I did. And one day I was typing up a film review we watch in Inception and analyzing College Com 2. And I said, I put it up on the smart board and I'm typing. And I looked up and half the class, I said, you guys can go wherever you want, write your essay. Go down to the Commons, go, I don't care. And I looked up, about half the class was watching me type. This is like my son watching somebody play Minecraft. I don't get it. But they wanted to see how I laid my, and I was starting over. Some kids think you gotta have your introduction first. I was like in the middle of my paper and I was changing stuff around. So they got to see how a real learner learns. So with my students, I'm a real adult. I'll share the things I'm struggling with. I talk to the stuff all the time about leadership and learning styles and stuff like that. There's nothing I don't share with my students. Well, there is stuff I don't share, but for the most part, when it comes to learning, I share everything. Students follow me on social media. That's, in some schools, that's a no-no. Our school lawyer said I would get fired for that. But he's also the guy that said he coaches down in the cities and he used to coach his daughter's soccer team and he used to give them high fives, but then he thought, God, what happens if I just missed and hit a breast? So now he gives them fist bumps. What is wrong with you? Right? Who thinks about grabbing, you know? No. And the odd thing was, it was at this time that we had a student dying from brain cancer. No, from, what's it crazy?
Yeah, it was
Bone cancer? Bone cancer. And I said, our kids are not gonna need fist bumps, they're gonna need hugs, and they're gonna cry their eyes out.
Yeah.
And we were human with our kids. I still, yeah. And that's what kids need to see, real teachers being human with them. And no curriculum can replace a caring human being there listening to a kid and their problems. There's nothing that can replace that. If that's not what you're capable of doing, you'll make more money somewhere else. But and I'll give you an example. Coach Mom, he spoke to your class. Remember he did the spaghetti deal, right? He had a kid who was getting bullied because he wore cowboy boots. And Mom said, I like cowboy boots. Give me those cowboy boots. He put the kid's freaking cowboy boots on. Walked into class, he had gym teacher pants on. You know, and he walks by, and if this guy was the guy bullying, he looks, because it totally doesn't go with this outfit. And the guy's like, why are you wearing cowboy boots? He's like, I like cowboy boots. You got a problem with it? And he walked the whole time, every time I went by the kid's class. I like my cowboy boots. That kid never said boo about cowboy boots to the other kid again. Another time, the kids came in and they're like, this kid has a problem. He's always showers with his underwear on. And then he walks out and he's got his underwear is all soaked through his jeans. And finally, Coach Mom said, what's the deal with the underwear? And the kid said, it's the only pair I have and this is the only way I can wash them. Coach Mom went out and bought him some underwear. Who does that? Teachers really. And if a fire teacher lost a position, I don't care if it was in Edina, Wayzata, Red River, anywhere, and Mom applied, he would be the top choice. Because without a doubt, he's impacted tens of thousands of lives in his career. Other people have played battle ball during gym. Other people changed lives. That's your profession. Doesn't matter what it is in. Are we out of here?
Yeah, or if you have any other questions, we got a little bit of time.
You got any other questions? Feel free.
Any more from the sheet?
Sheet, I do. What is the best and worst part of your job? What is the most difficult and what it makes it the most work? The best is by far working with students. And if you can get kids, and this is for Gen Z, if you can get kids invested in what they learn. We have a choir teacher, Reese, she came and talked to. She gets those kids to perform, I don't know, how long does your average choir come? 3 hours?
3 hours.
4 hours? Those kids sing their guts out. We go to New York, we're going to San Fran in about 2 months. And they performed at Alice Tully Hall on
Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
And we get done and all the way back, we're walking back to this eatery where we're gonna have a final night of awards and stuff like that. No, my wife and I got separated from them. She's like, how are we gonna find our way back? And you could hear them still singing.
Mm-hmm.
Like those damn kids are singing, walking down Broadway in New York City because they were so hyped up for choir. And other kid, my daughter went to choir and she read the music and stood on a riser. getting kids invested. I had a student, Elise Hewitt, did a multi-genre research paper, which is a research paper on one topic told from different genres, and hers was on code breaking. And I said, when you get your paper in, she's like, you gotta follow the clues. I'm like, what freaking clues? And I looked and there was a copy of The Notebook, which is another free play flag. I hate Nicholas Sparks. So sure enough, there was a code in there I had to break, which led me to Mr. Freuland's room and an envelope, which I had to then break another code. That led me to, after like a week, I figured her paper out. I'm like, this is freaking hard work. She had a hell of a time with it. That I spent about 24 hours working on that damn thing.
That was her fourth
And it
grade
was
teacher.
fun.
Her fourth grade teacher and Girl Scout leader helped her out.
Really?
No, I did, but I'm sure I inspired her.
And by far, the worst part is curriculum and meetings. It's terrible. I don't love everything about teaching, but the stuff I love carries me through all the crap I hate. I hate meetings. So if you have a meeting, just have a meeting. Worst thing ever. Curriculum. Nothing says, we kind of suck at teaching, so we're gonna have scripted curriculum where everybody does the same thing. Why are you holding me back? Oh, so you think you're all high and mighty? No, I love the shit out of my kids and we do awesome stuff. Just because you don't. Okay. Another thing, and I'll end with this. You wanna know a great teacher, walk into their room when they're not there. Look around, you can tell immediately. Does this room, like this room would not be a good room. Because nothing says anything. All this says is, let's rape them for their tuition and then get them the hell out of here. Right? Some of you know all that is, right? We don't care if you get a job, just pay your fees, get out of here, right? But you walk into my room, Reese's room,
Oh
Mom's
my
room,
god.
it's personality all over.
I need to video it and bring it to them.
Yeah, I mean,
It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
got-
Toys R Us.
yeah, I got crap everywhere. Student artwork hanging up, a $500 Death Star, Lego Death Star my class bought me a few years ago.
Seriously.
Just crap everywhere. But my point is, if you're not gonna listen to me, look around and find something interesting. And without a doubt, there are other people, one student wrote this, she was gonna take an honor AP, and I said, why don't you take AP English? And she said, who teaches it? I said, check, oh wait, why not? You'd be a great person to do that. And she said, I had her for honors and nothing I ever did mattered to her. Everything she did said, I'm just here for the job, that's it. She said, why would I wanna do that ever again? Kids vote with their feet. All right, thanks for listening to me.
Thank
You guys
you.
have any questions? Shoot me an email,
Check them out on
Here.
Teacher's Grade.
Google it. You guys ever wanna come see? Come to Lincoln.
He
I'll
loves
bend
it.
over
He loves it.
backwards to help you guys. I'm serious, don't think about it.
Don't
Think about it, no, think about it, don't be scared. Think about it, please. Thank you.
See you later.
I don't, you're
Sorry.
screwed, man.
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna.
Oh, my gosh.
I miss these little guys. What if I would've said
Yeah, I'm gonna have mine finished.
What are you doing about it?
So good.
Yeah, because I'm gonna run it by her Tuesday morning.
Okay, because, I mean, I'll start to think on it.
Usually that's fine, but
science teachers.
I have a plan of having a good.
Yeah, well, and then I got the case study, and the case study there.
And the 409 one.
I saw you
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
You want to go to
Yeah, that's fine.
She works, does she? Oh.
I was so.
She's there, she was walking right by me, I'm like,
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Hero.
Thank you so much.
somewhere
Thank you. Have a
Well,
But I saw Gabby and Mia Snapchat story, so
There you go.
I gotta see it.
Where's she from?
It looks fun.
It was.
Anyway.
We're still recording.
Was there any assignment with it, or was it just?
No, we just played.
T-Bear is from, so.